Hey guys, I'm here in Busan, Korea with Simon, who, well, you're the guy in charge of this. You're the head of Korean design for China and now...
Globally.
Globally, yeah. So this is your new baby. Well, you're working on newer things, but...
This is the latest baby that our team's worked on that we're showing.
Yeah.
Ioniq 6. Something very, very special to us all because we really took a step forward with the Ioniq brand. So the Ioniq 5, as you'll all know very well.
Yeah.
There it is, exactly.
Yeah, right there.
We wanted to do the next car, but we deliberately didn't want it to be exactly the same. We wanted to move this car towards the lifestyle of the customer that we're buying this car. So where we have Ioniq 5 with its CUV look, we wanted here a completely different lifestyle of customer, typology of car. How do we do that? Well, we looked backwards and forwards. You'll remember the Prophecy Show car. We were testing then. That car came out of part of this program as we were working on this.
It's funny, that one's very different from this.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
It's if you look at the key elements on that car, if you take the length of this line all the way through the car, the dropping line over the back, that whole architecture, the window graphic is the same on Prophecy, arguably. We scale up here. It's a big challenge. We have a battery pack and we have the package, carpet thickness, seat thickness, headroom. But the main theme of the car, the single curve line, the softness in the shoulder, the volumes in the design, that's exactly the same philosophy. So it's philosophically the same, but execution, of course, we're looking here for a volume product. We need practicality, we need space, we need 4 doors, headroom, legroom. This car has the biggest interior space in its segment.
Yeah, I was in it, and there's tons of room in the back. Not headroom for me, unfortunately. I mean, you lose a little bit because
you lose a little bit, and
yeah.
we decided this is more what we call the personal studio. This is more for the single or the couple with not a big family. If you want the practical headroom, yeah, we've got that over there.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is the emotional statement on the driveway. Very emotional, single curve design. What does that do for us? 2 things, emotionality and efficiency of aerodynamics. So this car, what we've done here in the low hood, between the headlamp cars.
I love this recessed Hyundai logo. It's really
this
cool.
Is part of the flushness.
Yeah, it's
This
cool.
is part of that aero efficiency. And so we see at the front are very closed. These flaps are open at the moment, the active air flaps, they're cooling the battery at the moment. The side air curtain, which is positioned around to the front. Usually it's off to the side more. We found on this architecture with the big plan shape, putting this towards the front helps us, gives us lower drag, and then the air exits around the wheel, which in turn then around the wheel activates the boundary layer, reattaches the flow, and we close the gap here. So this little gap closer was an idea we had with our aero team to bridge the airflow onto the wheel earlier. Reduces drag by a couple more counts.
And you've got a 0.21 coefficient of drag?
A 0.21, and that comes from the main architecture and the detail execution.
I think only a lower car might be a EQS, the Mercedes.
I think so.
Everything else is about this or higher.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and so we were really, we came from a CUV platform.
Yep.
So we're coming from a CUV, okay, I had a t-shirt made that said 0.1x. That was our dream, that was our goal, that was our challenge, which I knew was almost impossible, but with the whole team, we're like, okay, what's the architecture we need first to be good? So when we got the architecture that was working, then we get to the detail execution with the aerodynamics team.
It must be challenging, right? Because like the ideal coefficient of drag would be a bar or so.
Yeah.
So anytime you add details to it, you're adding to the coefficient.
Yeah, it depends which details.
Yeah.
A detail like this reduces the coefficient.
Okay, all right.
Because we're activating the airflow along the side of the car. As we push the nose down, as we integrate the sensors, and by the way, this black bar across the front, on Ioniq 5, it's between the headlamps. It's our sensor package. Ioniq 6, it's lower. We have 7 sensors in that, 6 sensors in the camera, and it gives us a width at the front, across the front of the car, breaks up the height of the front of the car visually.
One design element that's obviously very similar is the Pixel, right? So tell me about that, yeah.
The Pixel has 3 stories. The first story, if you're my age, you'll remember the first computer games you played,
Minecraft.
Tennis game.
Oh,
the tennis game in the
ping
70s.
pong, yeah.
Pong, exactly.
Yeah.
And the ball was a pixel. So for our age, it's like, the pixel's a very familiar element. Fast forward to today, it's Minecraft. The young people of today, it's Minecraft, that's the building block of digital. But if you go back way further, and that's something that we have in the design studio, a wall which we call Koreanness, where we put together what is Korean culture about, aesthetic about, graphic and so on. One big part of that is the language, Hangul. And in Hangul, it's the only language in the world, to my knowledge, that has a perfect pixel. Mium is the letter. Because Korean is 23 letters, you build them like words, like we do in the West with our words, but that was designed by King Sejong in 1443. And so we have almost, you could say, this is a 600-year-old design language, which is totally authentic with Korea, but it jumps over the generations and stays attractive for different reasons.
By the way, I love the mat. It's so cool. And I heard you can even take this in a car wash. You don't have to worry about like scuffing it.
This is actually our Ioniq exterior color. Diana Kloster and her color team, fantastic job. And this is our signature color for Ioniq. So you can get this on Ioniq 5 as well. Gravity gold matte, epic color.
And you guys are brave to go purple.
Yeah, this is like flips purple. This is the Prophecy show car color.
Yeah, it's pretty
And
brave.
so we needed to have that on the car, and it's dark. We see when it's less saturated and very dark, then it doesn't polarize so much, and it becomes something special. It's a very luxury color. In Asia, purple is a luxury color. And so we've got, and the car looks very different in the dark color or the light color. On the dark color, we have the light cladding package. On the light color, slightly darker cladding package. And that's similar to Ioniq 5, where we have the bright cladding package.
Let's look at the back end of the car. Let's talk about that. Now, to me, this looks a little bit like the old Infiniti J30. Do you remember that car?
I've read that a little bit. I didn't think about that till I saw some of the comments.
Yeah.
And I see why. With the tail lamp a little bit,
yeah.
We've gone wider on this, right to the corner, so you get a lot of width out of it. And then this triangular graphic, which matches this triangular graphic, perfectly matched by this triangular graphic in the wheel. So the triangle to triangle to triangle, almost playing with a reducing triangle. When this wheel turns, your eye is thrown to the edge because of the big machine surface. And then the design language is just matching through it.
Is this aero, this little...
Yep.
Oh,
This gives us another 1 count reduction.
Wow.
And the spoiler here, you'll remember the spoiler on Prophecy.
Yes.
On Prophecy, it extended wider, but we get drag off the end.
So that's
working,
why you kind of...
So we pulled it in to follow the airflow, but when you do that, the airflow is trying to roll underneath here. So this little gap closer is like the opposite of the wingtip on a plane.
Oh, so it
closes the flow,
yeah,
upside down. So it stops the flow going under and getting the vortex this way.
I also like this. I take it this lights up, right?
This lights up. So along the rear, it's a constant line, but the indirect lighting illuminates these pixels across the top. So and it's just a beautiful touch.
Yeah, it's nice.
The leftover flow that comes through flicks off the ducktail. And of course, then we have the double layer pixels all the way across the rear of the car.
Now these vertical
these
lines,
verticals,
look,
reflector and backup light.
They remind me a little bit of like a diffuser.
It's the diffuser feel. It's also the Prophecy feel on the Prophecy show car, and that's then the trailing edge here gives us the separation point for the aero underneath the car. The team did a lot of work with engineering to attach the flow under the car and separate it at the right place. So the aero separation line is through here, is up through here, is across a bit here, and across the back. So we're closing the cross-sectional area of the separation point at the back of the car. So everything's coming together, which gives you the beautiful volume and the beautiful shoulder volume as well.
So what are you the proudest of? What's the one element that you're like, man, we knocked this out of the ballpark? What's your
side view profile?
You
have to come to the side view.
Yeah, let's look at it.
It's so the length of the car, where we have the lines going all the way from the headlamp, all the way through the shoulder, all the way to the rear, and then the upswept line at the bottom to slim the car down. It doesn't look like a tall car, but it's 1.5 meters tall.
You can just see it.
This is 1.5 meters high, but we've broken the height up due to the length of the lines, and then the single curve, giving this cocoon-like interior space. That single curve was so important to us. So we actually raised the headroom in the front. We could have had a lower car, but we would lose the rear headroom. So the balance between rear headroom, single curve was our challenge on this, but we got such a length out of it, and yeah, we think it works.
So how do you translate, what is obviously in some ways a very Asian or aesthetic, right? That's very Korean to Europe and America, because this is a world car. This will sell around the world.
I would say this is not an Asian aesthetic. I would say we've joined a design movement called streamlining.
Okay.
Now the streamlining movement started in the 1930s with aircraft engineers who knew all the technology, and they started pulling that together with aesthetic into an aerodynamic form.
So I'm Czech, and I'm proud of the Tatra.
Exactly, that's one of the images we had. In those, when we start, 38 months ago, we had a set of images of what are visually efficient, functionally efficient things. We had Tatras, Saabs, Phantom Corsair, Stout Scarab. We also had planes, the Comet. We had trains, the streamlined trains.
So
we had animals.
That image of the car next to that old quad motor plane.
Exactly. That's the aero side of it. That's the aero efficiency. And if you look at their nature and how nature's solved the fluid mechanics of traveling fast. Look at a peregrine falcon. Only a small bird travels 320 kilometers per hour. If you look at the curvature when it's doing that, it's like a B-2 bomber, and it's like the curvature over the roof of our car. That's the shape you need for that efficiency.
Well, there's nobody in there. Why don't you jump in the driver's seat? I'm gonna do it here. Just do a quick interview. Thanks. Yeah, kind of walk me through what you did on the inside here. So obviously you've got very big screen reminiscent of the Ioniq 5, and tell me about those 3 dots. Those are really interesting.
Well, 4 dots.
Yeah, 4 dots.
These illuminate. Most manufacturers will put their own logo here. Usually we would have the Hyundai logo here, but we thought, do we need to shove the brand down people's throats? And so we said, why don't we lose that and give the customer some other functionality? Now in Morse code, 4 dots is H. And here these illuminate, they show your charging status, but also when you're using the voice control system, they will flicker to be your voice companion. So you have some feedback from those, and that's part of the interactive experience of the car.
And one of the things you're doing is you're leaning way back.
At the moment, I'm leaning way back. This is the way, just somebody set the car like this. But this seat has the comfort seat setting where I can go to the full, where's the right button? I can't find the button, but zero gravity.
Yes, move it all the way back.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And the console, we've deliberately here, we said this is a personal studio. So many people are blogging, so many people are doing vlogs that we wanted to put a table here. So you can put your laptop on here and work on it. You're not sitting bunched up behind the steering wheel. It's a flat surface. And that's the architecture of this console with loads of space underneath.
Yeah, I saw that.
With the transparency on the sides. And people are, why is that translucent? Because you can see through it and see what's in the bottom of your door pockets. And so we just added that extra touch.
I like this. This is also well done, where you can grab it anywhere.
Grab it anywhere. The illumination of that surface is beautiful.
Up.
And we took all the buttons. We wanted to reduce the visual clutter. So we took the window lift switches, the mirror switches, took them away from there, put the window lift switches here for both sides of the driver and the passenger control, the windows in the back, which just simplifies the door, gives us a handle all the way along. And then my favorite part of the interior, as we started this project, one of our designers, interior designers called Kyung Chang, he had a sketch where he gave a wingtip design to the instrument panel, and that wingtip includes the digital side mirrors. It was, for me, he solved our headache with this architecture of car, straight away integrated. I've got a great view of it, both sides. It's in this rough location that I need my mirror, and also reduces drag for the exterior.
We're unfortunately not blessed with a forward-thinking government, and in America, those are
they're
illegal
not. It'll come.
Cool.
I'm sure it'll come. Rest of the world, we can do it. Luckily,
we just got laser lights, so they just passed
there we go.
Legislation.
So it'll come. We'll lobby. Everybody will lobby, I'm sure. But it's a beautiful personal studio space. You can relax here, work here, drive here, and you're focused. There's a bit more driver orientation, a bit more sporty because of the high console, but it has a logical reason why. And of course, we have vehicle to load, so we can plug my laptop in, plug everything in, and it just, whatever we want. We can plug our hairdryer, coffee machine, laptop in the car whilst we're on the way.
Now you just got to build them, right?
Now we're building them. So come September, we're building and delivering.
I think in
this year,
I think America next year. Yeah,
early next year we should be there. End of the year, early next year, Europe as well.
Do you benchmark? Like obviously, this is going after a Model 3 Tesla. Do you benchmark cars like that?
We benchmark everything.
Yeah.
We keep an eye on everything that everybody's doing. It's so important to be aware of the car park, and in a customer perspective, take their perspective. What will they be comparing you to? And for this car, we said, okay, if there's a certain amount of money, you've got a really sort of sporty personal studio space, lots of interior space, loads of interior room, great trunk space, emotional design, practical, functional efficiency, and a great range, 100 kilometer longer range than we've had before.
610 on the European
610.
cycle.
If I'm a customer, then compare those attributes to other EVs. And we have a great pricing, great quality. People are talking about our premium feeling to our cars, but a very competitive price point.
Yeah, you're almost knocking on the door of Genesis, which I'm sure is causing some consternation.
Maybe it gives Genesis a problem, and that means they'll go do better still.
Sure.
So that's our challenge internally.
Well, Simon, thank you very much. I
hope
appreciate
that was helpful.
I really appreciate you taking the time to show us around this car. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I think you've got a hit on your hands, and It must be fun to actually. I was talking to Peter Schreier about the Corvette, and I said, "What do you think of the design?" He said, "I got to see it on the street. So I got to see it on the street. I got to see it how it works."
It changes the street scene.
Okay, that's
honestly, it's like, just like Ioniq 5 did.
Yeah.
Ioniq 6, I saw only now we start seeing uncamouflaged.
Exactly.
And I see it, and I think, what's that? Oh, that's our car.
Yeah.
And it's something else, and it's hugely emotional. It's about.
By the way, you got somebody laying down in the back of the car.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's a big trunk, see? There you go. Morning. It's a big trunk, right?
Yeah.
That's the wonderful day
That's
theme.
it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, life's good. So I'm glad people fit in the trunk, now we realize. I think for us, it's about, we talked a lot about ethical uniqueness. Ethics is so important today with sustainability, with doing the right thing, using the right materials, using sustainable materials as much as possible, being electric, being efficient, getting the aerodynamics as low as possible. So ethical plus uniqueness is people are still looking to have something different, but have the ethics and that individual unique statement.
Well, I think the passion you bring to the brand certainly comes out in the design.
I hope so.
Yeah.
And it's a team.
Yeah.
Our whole design team with Sangyup Lee, Luke Donkervolker, all our designers in Namyang around the world. It's such fun doing that together, and it's a challenge.
I think we should get out of here.
I think it's quite interesting. We'll leave them by themselves.
Exactly. They've got some vlogging to do.
At least they got us in the blog.
I've done like 50 of these shows, but that was
Nobody's ever got
time.
in a trunk before.
Yeah,
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Sorry. Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks
I really
for doing
appreciate
that.
it, Simon.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Great.
Bye. Hey,